afterwards, as well as everyone who's in the live chat. So that's just a heads up. We will be filming to let you know and quickly run you through the evening. So we're in here till 7. And I'll be doing a short overview of the selection of 8 master's programs that we offer in the Department of Management. Then Kate from Graduate Admissions will do an introduction to applying to LSE and her top tips. Then we have 4 of our student ambassadors who are current students on the programs. They'll do a question and answer that all of you can participate in. And then afterwards, we will have networking just down here in the mezzanine. And then if any of you signed up for a one-to-one session for the programs, go to the room that you were assigned for your time. And I think that's all. So during the networking session, if any of your questions don't get answered during the Q&A, Kate will be around. All of our student ambassadors will be here, so you can look for anyone with a red shirt if you want to chat to them. So I'm Lauren Kotelinich. I'm a marketing manager for the department, oversee recruitment of our programs, our social media, communication stuff. Kate works in admissions. Faisal Khan is our digital officer, digital marketing. He's handling the live stream, and Julia organized this event. So first, a little bit about Management LSE. As all of you know, we are a top-ranked school, both in social sciences, but also in management. We're ranked #1 in the UK for research in business and management, but we do things a little bit differently. So we are not a business school. We take a slightly different approach to the theories of business. So here, rather than just learning frameworks and how to apply them, we really encourage students to delve into how to deconstruct them, how to create their own kind of frameworks, and really develop critical thinking skills. So our goal is to kind of transform the way that you see the world. Hopefully, after doing one of these programs, and students constantly say this, you won't be able to read an article without becoming critical about where they got their research from, how was the research conducted, can't buy toothpaste without thinking about the vast diffusion model. These are the kind of anecdotes we get from students. So hopefully in that process of transforming the way that you see the world, and becoming a deeper, more critical thinker, you're also transforming, you go through a personal transformation. And we see that with challenging yourself to think deeply than you ever have before. Anyone applying to LSE who gets an LSE has been a high achiever, but you're going to meet other students who are also top of their class, who will push you to limits you haven't reached before. As well as the diversity. That's one of the largest selling points I think I hear from students, is that they meet people from all over the world. We're not talking about just Europe or Asia. One of our cohorts is 27 people with 50 different passports, all different religions. Everyone's coming with different levels of experience, and you can learn so much from each other as well as from your teachers. Out of curiosity, does everyone know which program they're interested in? Or are you kind of, how many of you have already applied? Okay, a few of you. Nice. So, well, this session will be very helpful for you in the application process. Right, so obviously we're a top school. Our students go on to great careers. That's definitely some questions you can talk to this, ask questions about the student ambassadors. Now I'll run through the programs. So we have 8 master's programs. One of them is 2 years. And then we have 2 executive programs that are designed for students with a little bit more experience in the field. Our Master's in Management is a 1-year, very intensive program that covers the full spectrum of business. So you'll do marketing, HR, finance. Global Masters in Management is a 2-year general management degree. And during the second year, you can customize your first term and do a study exchange either at a Asian or European business school, or get a taste of the MBA experience at a US university. So we are, if you've heard of SEMS Alliance, this is an alliance of business schools and corporate partners across the world. We are the only UK partner school. Then we have our sort of specialist programs, marketing. So you don't have to have a background in quants or marketing to do this degree, but it's sort of for anyone interested in getting a deeper knowledge of data analytics and consumer behavior. Human Resources and Organizations has 3 specialist streams that you can choose from within that if you're looking to get more into HR. MISD is our Management of Information Systems and Digital Innovation. This is a really interesting degree looking at how we manage data and technology as related to business now and in the future. One of our student ambassadors will be chatting about that degree. And we have the Social Innovation and Entrepreneurship. So this is if you are interested in the social purpose side of business. So whether that's starting your own social enterprise, or you work for a business or you're looking to work for a business and maybe add a social focus or work in corporate social responsibility, any of those would be good for that degree. And then finally, we have our managerial economics degrees, management and strategy, and economics and management. So this is applying economics to management. All right, Kate.
So, hi, I'm Kate. I work in...
Just for the...
not this one? I work in graduate admissions. I work with some of the academics in management looking at some of the applications as they come in. So I see literally thousands of applications every year. So I'm going to give you a sort of a bit of a rundown on what we're looking for and what will be what you'll need to submit as you're applying. So in the application, what we ask for, you have to fill in an application form, all online. We need a copy of your transcripts from your previous or current degree. That needs to include the list of the modules that you've taken with grades for each of those. If you haven't completed your degree yet, we understand that there may be a final year not on that transcript yet. We're very used to looking at transcripts that have the final year missing, and we can make the decision from your grades so far. We need sorry, this has been updated, a statement of academic interest, and we changed that from personal statement because we think that a statement of academic interest more accurately describes what we're looking for, and I'll talk about that in a bit more detail. We need a CV and then 2 references. If you're currently in education, those would be, or have been in education within the last 5 or so years, those would usually both be from an academic referee. So the personal statement should be usually 1,000 to 1,500 words, more or less. Basically 1 or 2 sides. Sorry, 2 sides is sort of the normal. And it should be, like I say, a statement of academic interest, as in what is interesting and exciting to you about the course that you are applying for, and why are you really well suited to that course. So apply the learning that you've done from your undergraduate, apply any learning that you've got from internships or other experience, and tell me what you're excited about in that statement. And remember that you're applying to a very competitive program, and you're applying with some of the best students in the world. And thus, I want to see your academic suitability to the program. I want to see that you've thought about what you're studying, that you have engaged with it on some academic level. If you can talk about some reading that you've done and apply it to something that you'd like to learn more about. If you can think about something that you've learned in your undergraduate career and tell me why you want to know more about it or how you would like to develop that understanding or those skills through the course, and you're really clearly applying that to the course you're applying for, that's what's going to make me understand that you are really prepared for this course, that you're really excited about this course, and that you're really interested in this course. So yeah, these are the kind of things that you would be looking to include. So picking up, I read a lot about personal statements that talk about that I can tell that this person is sending the same personal statement to 6 schools that they're applying for, and absolutely I understand why you might be doing that because it's very time consuming. But if we're not special enough to write a personal statement just for us, or at least to adapt that just for our course, then do you really want to come here as much as the other 1,000 people that are applying? So I want to see that you've looked at the course, that it's specific to our course, and that you have a clear understanding of what you're doing. Why is our approach important to you? Why are the specific things that you're going to be learning in this course really exciting to you as a learner? So again, I guess this is expanding upon it. So bringing in the skills from your undergraduate study, from your internships, all of that, talking about them and applying those to the learning that you're going to be doing going forward. I guess in terms of the academically relevant extracurriculars, I see a lot of personal statements that are a list of things that someone has achieved or that someone has participated in. And it's great that you've been actively engaged in the social life of your institution and that you've been actively joining in and doing things. But just remember, this is a statement of academic interest. So I can see on your CV if you've been the treasurer of the chess club, but what I want to know is what is your academic interest in this program, not what is a list of things that I could see on your CV. And the same goes for internships. You know, a paragraph that lists off the internships, I can see that on your CV. Tell me what particular issue you really want to get your teeth into in the study that you encountered during your internship. And then, I guess, outlining ambitions or research interests. So what do you want to do with this degree? Where do you want to go? And why is it important for this master's degree to get you there? And sort of what's the purpose of it for you? And that might be because you're really interested in it academically. It might be because you have a specific career goal, but you don't need to have a specific career goal in order to be properly motivated to do these courses. So this is general advice, I guess. Quotations. I promise you, almost certainly, I've read the quotation before. I'd rather read your words than somebody else's words. I understand it can be very difficult to start writing your statement of academic interest. It is a very difficult thing to do. Put that quote in and use it to inspire you when you're writing, but take it out before you send it to me because it doesn't add to the statement. Yeah, I mean, I know that we're a top school and don't use those words. Don't use that opportunity to tell me that. I know it. Tell me why you're right for the program. Yeah, these general, you can read. I'm trying to think of other don'ts for the personal statements. Yeah, don't list things quotations are not great. Yeah, talk academically about your interests and your purposes. Yeah, okay, so if you're applying for 2, you can have a first and a second choice for all of your, for your application. If those 2 choices are extremely similar, for example, 2 streams of the HR program, you might want to only submit 1 personal statement for both streams. But equally, there's a reason why there's 2 streams. There are clear differences between those streams, and showing me that you understand the differences between them may well make it more likely that you will get an offer for one or other of them. If you're applying for 2 programs that are not as directly related as, say, 2 HR streams, then, well, my personal recommendation would be submit 2 personal statements, because you need to demonstrate your academic interest and understanding and motivation for each course. And you can put them, like, logistically, put them into one document and upload as one document, but you just have your first choice one clearly headed as the first one, second choice one clearly headed as the second choice, and then we can tell when we're reading your application that you are interested in your second choice. You didn't just put it in because you could. Okay. And there are programs, for example, SIE, which require a specific personal statement. Please make sure you read that guidance and adhere to it, because that's what they're looking for. That's what they want to hear from you. So, previous study, what we are looking for is your ability to be successful at the LSE. So we're looking for your modules, we're looking for individual marks, and we're looking for these sort of skills to be evidenced in your transcript, in your CV if you want to expand upon them slightly, or in your personal statement if you think that they're not clear otherwise. So a few of the programs require a GMAT or a GRE. I think the MIM and the GMIM and management strategy and marketing. Okay, so if they are required, oh yeah, they're here. If they're required for the program, you will need to submit them as you submit your application. If you have really strong GRE or GMAT scores because you're applying elsewhere, and they're not required by the program, by all means include them if you would like to. But unless they're required by the program, don't do them specifically for, say, for HR or whatever. Can I come back to questions later? Yeah? So for these ones, put it in. But as I say, like for HR, for example, I wouldn't recommend doing the GRE GMAT just for us. Like if someone else requires it and you've got a great score, by all means tell us about it. But it's not otherwise required. So work experience as demonstrated by your CV or within your personal statement. The importance of this or the relevance of this depends on the course. Most of our courses don't require specific work experience. If you have it, great, demonstrate its relevance. If you're coming straight from university, that's also not an issue. I know lots of people have internships that they can demonstrate relevance of, or even just part-time working. All of that stuff will contribute. So put it all onto your CV and explain how it helped you develop as a, in terms of your interests and your understanding of the context that you're applying for. I think this point here, these points here are absolutely key. Like, if I'm looking at an internship that was 3 weeks long and you tell me that you completely transformed the company, I'm going to potentially take that with a pinch of salt. But if you tell me that you had this really small, great impact upon this team and this small change you made and you saw the impact of that, then, I'm potentially going to believe you a little bit more than if you tell me that you doubled sales and transformed the company into from failing into something that was just amazing. Okay, so that's sort of the quick run through. I'm sorry I rushed through a little bit, but I'll be around for questions if you have any later. So, okay.
Great, thank you, Kate. All right, student ambassadors, do you guys want to come up? Great, so I'll pass the microphone around. If you just want to introduce yourself, which program you're on, and why you chose LSE and this program specifically.
I'm Liaquat Bir Singh. I'm studying social innovation and entrepreneurship here. Why I chose LSE, I think, has already been covered. That LSE, due to LSE's reputation and the diversity, the diverse cohort that we have here, and the social innovation and entrepreneurship course is, I think it's in LSE, it's a very good mixture of how social impact can also be a business, and how having a good social impact, having a good reason to do a business for the society can also be made sustainable, self-sustaining. And we have people from different backgrounds coming in our class, and the faculty is also very experienced and have a lot of case studies, lot of examples to tell, which is the reason why I chose this course.
Hi, my name's Anna Gabriela Yorga, but please call me Gabby. I finished my undergrad at UCL in politics, but I realized somewhere along the way after doing some courses in organizational psychology that I was really interested in human resources, and that made me apply to the Human Resources and Organizations program at LSE. However, the fact that I came from a politics background made me want to keep that bit of politics inside my life and my academic experience. So I chose the International Employment Relations stream, which would offer me the opportunity to have to gain academic knowledge both of human resources management, but also of the way this plays out in the grander scheme of things and employment relations as a whole. One of the things that, apart from this, one other thing that drew me to the LSE HRO degree was the LINKS program, where for my dissertation I will have the opportunity to work with a firm. So sometime in January we will have a variety of firms, from startups to bigger firms, come to the LSE and present the projects that they've got for us. So they will each have an issue, and we will come there as consultants, and we will be able to perform our dissertation as a business project, helping them on a consulting issue that they might have.
Hey, I'm Abby. I just graduated from King's with a Bachelor of Science in Political Economy. I specialize in economics. So in terms of why I chose the LSE, I think if any of you have done politics or economics, I'm sure that at least one of the people you studied, one of their theories, even for management, a lot of important, great thinkers passed through these halls. And so I think that history of excellence at this institution, you know, is something that's great to be a part of, and you know, makes you feel really proud of when you're here. A little bit bragging rights as well, which is always really cool. But you know, also I had friends that did their bachelors here, and you know, the motivation that they were talking about, their peers, and you know, even my friends, the drive that they had, and how everyone collaborated and sort of pushed each other to do even better than you would have thought possible, I think was something that made me choose the LSE. In terms of why I chose the Global Masters in Management, so there's two parts to that. Through my internships and even through politics, if you guys have heard of Manker Olson, the collective action problem, I was always interested in how best to motivate people. And so that was why I settled on management. And then I had the choice of, you know, the Masters in Management versus the Global Masters in Management. And for me, because I just graduated, I wanted more time to be able to figure out what specific part of management I really liked. So if you do the global masters, I think as Lauren said earlier, you get 3 choices. So it really appeals to a broad range of people. So you can either do the SEMS, MBA. I'm one of the rare people that will stay here, or as I'll very likely stay here, just because we get like 40 different modules and we can specialize in accounting, ethics, philosophy, political economy. If you want, you can try and apply to, not apply, but take modules from outside the department as well, which you have to get, permission for, but it's possible. So one of my friends is doing an econs course, even though it's not one of our modules listed on the website. So the 2-year course for me was better because I could really specialize in what I wanted to do. And I do quite like learning, a bit of a nerd. So, it's nice to have 2 years to really get down in it and not have to focus about getting a job straight after, 2 years to do that. Thank you.
Thanks. Hi, I'm Carl. I'm also a fellow nerd. So I'm a bit older, as you can see, and I have a good bit of industry experience, and my background is in electronic engineering. I graduated close to year 2000. And then I went on and did computer systems about 5 or 6 years later. So I have a master's in computer systems, and I set up a business, and like most entrepreneurs, I started off doing all the technical stuff and working for the clients and building software systems. And I slowly kind of transitioned into management, and now I'm just full-time kind of managing the business. So I did the MISTI, I'm doing the MISTI course, which is Management of Information Systems and Digital Innovation. So it actually fits in very well with my current job or my current duties. So that's at a practical level, that's why I chose this course. But really, primarily I wanted to come to the LSE first and do the course second. And actually, it's the only college that I applied to. So the reason I wanted to come to the LSE is because of the focus on the social aspect. So I've looked at alumni, and as over the years, as you know, I kind of read a lot, or I'd be well read. And I just noticed that the alumni that come from the LSE have a different perspective on things, more social responsibility. As I mentioned, I'm from Ireland, and there are a few public figures there that maybe people wouldn't realise they studied at the LSE, but I just noted that their actions, are kind of speak for themselves more than their words, and they have a greater respect and responsibility for their environment and for the people around them and for society at large. So that's why I kind of was attracted to the LSE. And again, this course was just perfect for me. As I said, I was coming into management, and it gives me a formal grounding in management techniques and so on, and of course in the IS field, which is exactly what my business is. It's a software engineering business. So that's my background. Yeah.
Thanks. Do one more question and then open it up to the floor. Can you tell us what the highlight of the program has been so far, and even though it's kind of early, what you think your biggest takeaway will be?
Social Innovation and Entrepreneurship Program has a specific trip to an international trip to a developing country, where LSE has tie-ups with some organizations in developing countries, and we as students are formed into groups, and half of that group goes to the developing country and tries to identify and understand a particular problem which we would like to solve, to have an enterprise that will solve that problem. And after visiting that country, understanding that problem, that half of the group comes together, and we try to formulate a solution of that problem, and then the other half goes there and sees what the challenges could be. So during the 2 semesters of this course, first term and second term, we practically see how an enterprise starts forming and how it is formed and what kind of challenges could be there in the ground, which I think is a very good highlight of this particular program. And I also would like to mention the different backgrounds of the whole cohort. We have people coming from different corporates. We have people who just completed their undergrad. We also have people who have 10, 12 years of experience, and there is a lot to learn from the fellow students. We have such examples where the professor is teaching in the class and they refer to a case study that, say, a very big company did this in their team. They made this small change which resulted in very good results. And we have one of the students who said that, oh, I was in that project when they decided to do this change in the big company. So there is a lot to learn, and the networks that are built within the students, within the cohort are having, I think this will be the biggest takeaway from LSE when I leave this course.
Well, I was very, say, pleasantly surprised by LSE from my first day. We had a incredibly well-organized induction week that really made me feel part of LSE from the first moment that I stepped my foot inside the school. I knew that LSE was an extraordinary school, but I hadn't expected them to actually invest that much from the first moment that they saw us. So coming in Monday, we had a variety of things that were happening around campus, loads of things organized by the Department of Management that really made me know my cohort and make friends and acquaintances with people from the very, very start. And we had an induction day on Friday where we got to work on a case study. And at the end of that induction day, our professor told us that we should think about one reason for which we've come to LSE, and throughout our time here, we just focus on that. So since then, I've been trying to find this one thing that I really want to focus on. And it's just been so hard because there are so many things to focus on. So on the one hand, it's the amazing people that I meet. So that's an incredible takeaway in itself. I've got so many friends, and they're all awesome, and they come from all over the world. I've got a really good friend from two really good friends from Mexico, one from South Africa, quite a few from the States. I've lived in Greece, so I met somebody that's from Greece, from Athens. Then there's also all of the other societies, and you can meet so many people. Apart from that, regarding the academic side of things, the fact that all of the courses use case studies as well is incredible, because you learn all the theories, but then you actually get to apply these theories into real-time, real-life case studies, and that really prepares you for the future and for the moment that you become, in my case, an HR professional. So I feel that when I go into interviews and when I apply to jobs, I actually know what I'm talking about. It's not just theory, and it's not just, I've had this internship once. It's, I know the theory, and I can apply it into case studies. I can solve various problems, and that in itself is another awesome thing. And I guess there will be more takeaways to come in the future.
So for me, just to reiterate, as part of my 2 points, is the people. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the stereotypical sort of international student sitting in a park on a sunny day having lunch. I was finally able to do that after 3 years in the UK in my first week at the LSE. So, you know, just this international cohort, and I think, as you guys said, of completely different age ranges with completely different backgrounds, like socio-economic class, their work experience, their university experiences, which I think just helps so much. And the fact that everyone here is so collaborative, willing to help each other out, I think it just provides this sort of great community feel. And on top of that, I think my other biggest takeaway from here is that the LSE really doesn't force you to think in one particular way. Rather, they'll kind of present you with all the different options, and it becomes up to you what you like about each aspect, how you want to build your own sort of definition of management. which I think is the most useful thing, especially because we all come from different backgrounds and contexts. What might work in the UK might not work where we're from. And I think that, you know, as the years change, that the tools that the LSE equips you with will help you for whatever challenges you might face in the future.
Thanks. Yeah, I could just echo some of the things that were said already. There's great diversity in the course. Out of the course I'm in, the Misty course, there are roughly about 80, I think, maybe between 80 and 100. Only 2 of them are from the UK, so that kind of says a lot. And yeah, and again, on the administrative side, just very, very well organised and very slick and very easy to just hit the ground running right from the first week. And then in terms of the specific course, the Misty course, of course it's IS or IT related, and my experience previously in doing certifications and doing other masters and other kind of academic courses would be that the institution or the lecturers would always be kind of a few years behind the cutting edge. But here it's actually, you know, I think that one of the biggest shocks really when I came was that the academic staff are bang up to date, you know, so rather than kind of following industry or maybe being a year or two behind industry, it's almost the opposite. They're kind of almost dictating out to industry what the next trend will be. So that was one of the biggest differences. Like previous universities I've gone to would be quite well respected and would be up there, but yeah, that were one of the main things that kind of stood out. And then if I had to pick out highlights, we're only maybe little bit over 2 months in, and we had a thing called a sprint week, which is where you go and you do a project over a week with a few teammates, 6 or 7 teammates, and again, it's just the methods and the frameworks we were using were right up to date, just the same frameworks that I'm using myself within my own business. So that was really good, and also we had a visit from somebody, a senior politician from Kosovo. Just a former Misty alumni, and in the class there were only 6 or 7 people there, and we could talk about the internal politics of Kosovo, the EU, and an insider's perspective on it, and I don't think there's any place else really that would have happened. There's only 7 or 8 of us in the class of that particular seminar or workshop, and the 2 highlights I'd say that would have stood out in the short time that we've been here so far. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Thanks so much, guys. Kate and Charlotte, if you want to stand up. So I'll open it up to the floor now, and we'll pass another mic around. So if you've any questions for the student ambassadors or for Charlotte and Kate from admissions, give it a shot.
I can speak. I'm not
just for the recording, yeah, sorry.
I think I have a pretty loud voice.
Yeah.
Okay, hi, I have a short question. Just from an admission standpoint, do you have a preference over like the GMAT versus the GRE?
No, it's either just do your best and the one that works for you, and send in the scores for the one you have. There's no sort of a preference on them.
Okay, thank you.
I just have a question, regarding the Masters in Management. How long is the international study trip in the summer?
A week, isn't it?
Just 1 week?
1 week.
Yeah. Okay. That's all. Thank you.
Or you could do the GMAT and go for 3 months.
Sorry?
Or you could do the GMAT program and go for 3 months.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, it's 1 week in Berlin.
So I have a question again on the admission side. If you're applying for 2 programs, and from what I've read, you don't need a GMAT for the economics and management one if you've studied here, which I have. But if you're applying for 2 programs and one of them asks you for the GMAT, but the other one is your first choice, would you still have to submit the GMAT at the same time with your application? Or
You do,
even though this one doesn't need it?
Yeah, so the form won't let you submit if it is a requirement for one of the programs, and the way around that would be to apply for the one which doesn't require it as a single choice, and later add the one that does require it as a second choice. You don't have to submit a whole new application, you have just a form online to add a new choice. That means you can get in and be considered for the first program that doesn't require it, and then take the GMAT later and supply the scores when you add the new choice. It's a personal preference. A lot of people are more worried about getting their application in as soon as they can, but yeah, the form won't let you go through if it is a requirement for you.
So you submit the first one, for example, that one, and then later on you can just add it on.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay, thank you.
Hi. I did my undergrad in India, so I required the GMAT when I applied for MSc Accounting and Finance at LSE. But right now I'm doing MSc Accounting and Finance at LSE. So when I apply for the GMM program, do I have to submit the GMAT score again?
UK degree.
UK master's degree. I think the
it's
requirement
exemption.
is if you're expecting a merit, but obviously early on in your degree,
I mean, it's just way too
you're not
hard.
really going to know. So yeah, you're welcome to submit without the scores. If the selector did feel that perhaps they need to see them, I mean, if you're doing accounting and finance, I think your quantitative skills are going to be shown through that. So yeah, if they felt they needed them, we could request them from you during the consideration process. But I think you would probably
No, but I wasn't being able to fill the form without submitting the score.
It will still ask you for them, and you have to go through the exceptions. So it says something like, have you taken a test? Just say no. Would you like to find out if you're exempt? Say yes, and then select UK master's degree.
Okay.
Hi, I think I'm one of the few people here who's doing the general course, and I'm actually here for 1 year. My question is addressed to the admissions team. So for the past 2 years, I've been studying in Singapore, and my 3rd year is in LSE. So do I still need the GMAT for my master's if I'm applying for economics and management?
You would, yes, because you're only exempt if your entire degree was taught in the UK, so 3 years, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the back? Anyone have a question for the student ambassadors about specific programs?
Oh, yeah.
It's not about the GMAT, so how does it work with the employability? So people come here as careers fairs for the master's degrees or for jobs and internships after the master's?
You
Do
have
you
any
guys
experiences
know?
of events or anything so far?
So yes, there are a lot of career events, especially September to, I would say, like the end of October, but then they go throughout the whole year, but that's just sort of when most recruiting in the UK happens. So that tends to be when a lot of them come. And I think the LSE is really special because you get the really like top end firms coming to talk to you guys about things. You have like case studies. So I remember most of my friends were able to, if you guys are interested in like management consultancy, I believe it was Bain and I think McKinsey came in to do case studies with them. I attended 2 different case studies with Goldman Sachs and HSBC. These are experiences that they might come to careers fair at other universities, but they won't run events like this with you, except like maybe the LSE and maybe one other uni or 2 other unis. I'm not entirely sure, but it's very special to the LSE. I think you guys might know more about whether they come to, but I would say obviously when it comes to applying for jobs, you still have to pass the first online test. You know, it's not gonna like they're not just be like, here, come in. You still have to get through it, and but I do think, but once you get into like the interview stages, saying that you come from the LSE, especially being able to talk to a lot of alumni who are in top tier universities or have the mentors whose mentees from, you know, like I'm interested in going to the UN. My mentor actually got me in touch with someone that's working at the UN right now. So those kind of experiences would be very difficult to find, I think, from other universities, and it's a big benefit of coming here.
And in addition to that, so there are the career fairs and there are events that are organized in general, but we also have Department of Management specific career consultants. And there are events that are only organized for the Department of Management. And in my case, there are events that are only organized for the Master in Human Resources. Like, for example, I think in a couple of weeks, we will have an alumni mentoring event. A couple of weeks ago, we had Another event, very HR specific. Yes, Willis, I couldn't remember what it was. Willis Towers Watson came and they presented, 3 people from the firm had come. One was a director, one was, again, quite high up, and the other one was actually a grad that had finished the program last year and was now doing the grad scheme over there. So they spoke both about the firm in general, but also gave tips as to the application process and so on. So that's something that probably wouldn't happen elsewhere. And in addition to that, there are other HR, in my case, specific career events organized throughout the year. So.
Yeah, I guess, and the LSE has a careers service that is, geared up to support all of our students in gaining employment after when they graduate, and they're well used to the type of careers and aspirations that LSE students have, and in supporting our alumni to get into the careers and the types of organisations that they're targeted towards, and that's sort of more general across the school. In addition to all this, sort of the, and that includes one-to-one appointments and support with assessment centres, etc. And that's in addition to the support that you'll receive within management specifically.
Yeah, so as the largest department at LSE, we do offer quite a few services that you won't find in other departments, like the career consultants. Anyone in the department can book one-to-one appointments with them to discuss their career goals, to do practice interviews. We also have an alumni team that hosts alumni events and networking events, and often those will also be open to current students so that they can network there. And we have a corporate relations team that develop relationships with different corporate partners that are used in the LINK scheme or in the marketing action learning projects on the marketing course. So there's all kinds of opportunities to explore future careers. Yeah, in the back.
Are there any study abroad programs or options or joint program options with the MSc in marketing?
With the what, sorry?
With the MSc in marketing?
Oh,
No.
no, not abroad. Yeah. Final question?
Right at the front.
Just wanted to ask you, do you review applications on a rolling basis, and do you recommend to apply early, or do you have the same amount of applications?
Yeah, so all applications are assessed on a rolling basis, and programs will close when they have made all the offers that they have. And so programs close when they're full. And so we recommend early application. We can't tell you when a program will close. Usually there's like a week's warning, but we have some programs that close in as early as March, late February, March, and some that stay open a bit longer. But we would always recommend early application for the best chance for those places.
When do the applications open? Just because I have another year, so I'd be applying for this.
So, beginning of October.
Beginning of October, okay.
Yeah.
Just a question to Kate. So in terms of the application, do you have a date or a month when you start reviewing the applications? Because you do recommend early applications, but say the program's open from October. Does that mean by January, for example, the most popular one could be gone, or you start reviewing?
So I will start reviewing applications as soon as they arrive. So I have been reviewing them since the beginning of October. We are aware of the spread. You know, we like to keep our options open, but some programs get exceptionally strong applicants very early on, and so I mean, like I say, the most popular programs in the school can close at the end of February, beginning of March. Generally, not before that, but and then some will carry on for a couple more months, but. I would recommend sort of a January, aiming to have everything in by January, and then you'll be considered. For those of you that have maybe applied already or are planning to apply now, we don't send out any offers until December. So there's sort of a delay on hearing back for that, but we are reviewing applications consistently from October.
I'll take the one more question in the back.
Regarding the references?
References? Yeah.
I think it's just for the recording, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Regarding the references, are they supposed to write a letter or is it specific questions?
So they are asked to rate applicants on a range of characteristics, for example, academic capability, etc. But they are also requested to write a letter. So in terms of choosing your referees, I would definitely recommend choosing referees who know you. So even if your highest mark was in a class with 300 other people and you didn't have one-to-one conversations with that professor, probably not the best person to ask. You want someone who knows you, who can talk about your specific skills. You want to send them your application materials so they know what you're applying for and what you're telling me. And you want to get those people who know you, who can write about you specifically, and who can tell me clearly why they think that you would be suitable for the program that you're applying for.
And in terms of the questions that they have to answer, you don't need to find them out or remember them. You enter their details into the application form. We send them everything that they need in order to adequately provide a reference. So don't worry about the specifics that Kate just mentioned in terms of the rankings and that sort of thing. It'll all be sent to them.
Okay, we are out of time. So if you have any additional questions, all these guys plus a bunch more student ambassadors will be down in the mezzanine. So feel free to go down there and get a drink, have a snack, and if you're signed up for a one-to-one, head to your room at your allotted time. Thanks so much, everyone. And thanks, all you guys, for presenting.